Hello again. Um, Welcome back. We are now going to look at some common questions and issues and troubleshooting that we have for new users. This is very specific to, I would say, new users to OpenAI API, but also Cuppa as a whole. I would say the first and foremost thing that we get a lot is people putting in their ChatGPT or ChatGPT plus API keys and saying it doesn't work within Cuppa, which is correct. It will never work within Cuppa. We need the OpenAI API key, which is a completely different product for OpenAI versus ChatGPT or ChatGPT plus. So by far and away, the number one question we still get is that. Uh, Front and center, that is, as you're getting started, just remember we need the OpenAI API key. You can find it at platform.openai.com. It takes about 60 seconds to set up your account, 60 seconds more to prepay a bill to get access to all models. So highly recommend you do that. Secondly, also attached to OpenAI. So the way Cuppa works is we obviously use the OpenAI API key to generate content. So if there's ever issues with OpenAI's API server, thankfully they have a very strong uptime, meaning most of the times they do not have any issues, but sometimes they do. Sometimes the API is acting up, could be down, not working. We do have a status here. If you click this button, it will go to OpenAI's basically server uptime report. So you'll be able to see, it will say front and center if there's an issue with OpenAI API. A couple issues with that. Unfortunately, if you're in the middle of a bulk generation and the API server stops working, unfortunately, the bulk or single article generator will stop working as well. So that does obviously suck. Bulk, don't worry, there's a retry button. So any of the articles that didn't generate, you can go back in and hit generate. Single article, there's a continue button. So not the end of the world. It does happen. It's happening less and less, but there's just some random days. A good example of this was their dev day, December, early December 2023, maybe even late November. But generally, when new models come out, there's a lot of activity, and that's generally when things kind of break. I remember 4 or 5 days in a row where there were just brief little snippets of things not working. So most importantly, check there. That is, culprit number one. The server, thankfully, the uptime is phenomenal. Just Google their uptime as well. You'll read a lot of articles about how impressive it is. Secondly, the API keys also work on, depending on what level of customer you are for OpenAI. Thankfully, within OpenAI API's product, you can now actually change that on your own. So if you're just starting off and you put $5 into OpenAI, you are at a tier 1 level, which is fine, but just know you are at the lowest pecking order in terms of using the API. So you have lower, it's called RPMs, and TPMs, so tokens per minute, requests per minute. That's how basically the API works as a whole. With tier 1, tier 2, if you're doing any type of bulk level generation for Cuppa, I highly recommend getting to tier 3, which if I remember correctly, is $200 or $300 to get there. It might be worth prepaying that, especially if you have a lot of articles that you want to build in, say, 2024. If you're tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, you'll never run into any issues with rate limits. Tier 1, tier 2, we pretty much consistently see that from new users that are trying to do a bulk generation of 100 articles. You're going to run into rate limit issues. And what happens is basically you run out of tokens to use for the day, for the minute, for whatever the time frame is, and it errors out. So it will ask you to wait a certain amount of time to then start to use your API keys again. So by far and away, those three are the most common questions we get within Cuppa. So again, you need the OpenAI API keys. ChatGPT, ChatGPT Plus are totally irrelevant for Cuppa. Do not work. Will never work within Cuppa. You need the API product. Secondly, always check the OpenAI status here in your app. Again, great uptimes, but when they're down, it sucks for all of us. And lastly, rate limits. Definitely get used to your platform.openai.com account. You can go into your usage, you can go into your billing, you can see your tier. If you see your tier, you'll be able to see per model what your RPMs and TPMs are. So just get very familiar with that, and understand if you want to do more bulk generation, highly recommend getting to tier 3 or above. Tier 1 or tier 2, you're going to probably forget this. Go to Discord and saying, hey, what gives? Why is this not working anymore? You suck, Cuppa. But realize that this is how we work. We're connected to OpenAI. We pass through the cost to you. If OpenAI is shutting off your API keys because you're hitting your limits, because you're in that level of tier of customer, there's nothing we can do about it. So the great news is you can simply spend prepay, which again, this was new as of November 2023. So before you had to do it like on a monthly basis. Now they just allow you to go into your account and upgrade on the fly, which is great. So those by far are the three most common issues, questions we come across as you're getting started with Cuppa.